I'm running a bit behind on this. This is something that broke yesterday via Huffington Post, and I looked at the Huffington Post piece, and then I kind of looked at some others, and even first gut reaction on the Huff Post piece, it just notice all the verbiage in it trying to justify why they found it now, and how, despite all the suggestions of the reality, that the odds of this are astronomical. It's built almost like some miracle. Everything in this smells fishy, given the rest going on in the world and the present agenda of U.S. government. At the complete minimal, this is surely a way to rip the wound off 9/11 wide open, to press the American psyche towards accepting yet more control and the erosion of yet more liberty and constitutional rights. It's a slap in the face to critical thinkers nationwide as well. For those of you that are wondering about this, I'll add the links in the description to at least two of the pieces that I looked at. The first one, of course, will be the HuffPost piece. The second one is another piece done by somebody else that goes into some more angles on things, some of which I agree with, others of which I may not. What I agree with, or my views on this, you will know through what I'm about to say. So, what gives me heartburn about this supposed news story? Well, there's numerous things. I mean, when you think about New York City, the size of it, the population of it, but not a single homeless person or gang member in New York City ever came across the landing gear and thought they might get something, a benefit from letting someone in government know about it in over a decade. With all the people in New York City, not a single solitary soul came across this since 9/11 and didn't say a thing about it to anybody else. I ain't buying it. It doesn't seem astronomical to you that it's wedged between two buildings and one just happens to be the site of a potential mosque. It doesn't seem astronomical to you that it wedged in there without any damage to either building. Why does the piece go to such great lengths and efforts to justify why it wasn't found until recently? Just thinking on that alone, there is so much verbiage in that HuffPost piece in order to justify it being credible. Why? Why not just put out there the fact that, oh, well, we just found it and here it is and this is what it is? No, they didn't do that. They put a bunch of extra glossy crap in it in order to try to substantiate the validity of the claim. There's just too much for anybody with critical thought to think about that contradicts the validity and the truth of this report. Now, am I saying that it wasn't there? No, I'm not saying it wasn't there. I'm saying, yeah, it was there, but I don't think it was there for no damn over a decade. Again, why? Because if it was there that damn long, given the population of New York City and the fact of, gangs and homeless trying to, get a leg up, or anybody else for that matter, somebody would have seen this and would have said something, if nothing else, just on the basis of what they might be able to get from it. Whether that be some fame because they're the ones who found it, whether it be some fortune because, of some type of potential reward involved. Somebody saw this if it was there that long. somebody would have come forward to someone trying to leverage the fact that it was there. Well, now somebody is trying to leverage the fact that it was there. Ever heard a guilty person with all their justifications and excuses? That's what this piece reminds me of. Someone trying to redirect attention from their guilt to how they couldn't possibly be guilty. How about the ironies of the recent Boston situation and their failed gun legislation? Nobody finds this particularly ironic with Israeli police coming to the American soil to help with the Boston investigation? I mean, that's some irony in and of itself. With some of the stuff that they've been behind and some of the crap that they have pulled. The USS Liberty, the Levant affair, then there's the Polak, whatever, however the hell you pronounce his name, nuclear secrets that were sold to Israel. You don't find it particularly ironic? Could it be that more now aware than we were before about things like Building 7 on 9/11, the dancing Israelis documenting an event, the double payment clause on the Twin Tower insurance just before the incident, the Mossad front moving company that pulled out, breaking their lease, and other things that quite clearly tossed doubts about the official 9/11 story? With all the evidence they quite conveniently sent to Japan as scrap, now suddenly they want to offer this? For what reason? For those of you not aware, Building 7 on 9/11, if you watch the videos, and including the news accounts, if you can find any of them anymore on Building 7, Building 7 wasn't one of the Twin Towers. It was another building not hit by a plane, yet it fell, the way it fell looked very damn similar, almost to a T, to the same way that the Twin Towers fell. And it was a different building, and it was not hit by a plane. Most people are not aware about that. The dancing Israelis, in the event you're not aware of it, these were ones that were dancing around with a van. They were later caught by police with some questionable stuff in that van. And they said that, they were on our side, they were Israeli, and they were here to document the situation. Well, how the hell do you document something if you don't know it was going to happen? Later was determined that they were possibly Mossad agents. Something else you may not be aware of. Right after 9/11, there were hundreds of Israelis, dual citizen Israelis, that ended up being arrested and deported. They tossed that off to being possibly part of the Israeli spy network. Yeah, such great allies. That's why they did the Levant affair stuff. That's why they attacked the USS Liberty. That's why Pollard, that's the name, that's why Pollard ended up selling secrets. He was a dual citizen Israeli. Nuclear secrets to Israel. So for all of you chosen ignorant and chosen stupid out there that want to keep on harping about, yay Israel, and Israel's such a great friend and ally, you don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. Why? Because you're ignorant. And you haven't dug into the facts of the matter that show quite clearly some of the crap that Israel has done to us. So anyways, like I said, I'm tossing 2 links in the descriptions in order for you guys to look at. So that way it'll bring you up to speed with the exact news that I'm talking about. This stinks, people. There is a hidden agenda with this. It is not factual. The one other link goes into how there was rope bound at the seam, twisted up in some of the metal. Quite clearly could have been, recently lowered into place. Some will argue, well, you said yourself about the population of New York City, how would they have been able to lower it? Well, people do sleep. There's a lot of noise in New York City, and it doesn't prevent a fairly not so loud transportation from a type of helicopter to bring that gear in, set it on top of a building, and then people to be on top of that building quietly lowering it into place. It's plausible. And it's more plausible than it was thrown in there from an explosion and not damaging either building involved. So it's time to wake up. It's time to start questioning, especially when they start offering so much fluff bullshit in their news in order to try to make it palatable, in order to try to make it credible. This piece over at HuffPost, there's just too much of that. Okay? Truth does not need a bunch of fluff to support it. Never does. Truth will stand on its own without the fluff. Always has, always will. When somebody tries to start fluffing something up, that's your first indication that somebody's trying to pull some bullshit. They're trying to talk some bullshit that is not real, it is not factual, it is not quite the real picture of how it got there. And they're going to they're going to try to leverage this in some way. Whether this is to draw attention to maybe that mosque because there was waning support for people opposing it, to reopen wounds so that maybe people would start to push against that mosque being able to be built there again, or whether it's going to be used as a reminder in order to try to emotionally manipulate the populace back towards giving up more liberties so that they can do the legislation they want to do. It's coming. Watch it. Don't fall for it. Think about it.